Hey everybody, we are recording and this is February 21st, few days before Purim. So excited to have a chance to plan how you are going to have an amazing holiday, how we're going to have an amazing holiday. Corona be darned, 3-day yuntif, doesn't matter. We are going to have a good time. We are going to feel empowered. We are going to feel like we know what to do and we can be calm and focus on managing our children who are going to be full of sugar and insanity and not be anxious around food this holiday and anxious about, are we going to be able to control ourselves and are we going to be able to have a good time and all these crazy things. So I am sure that there are people who by the end of this call are going to be, I'm so excited for Purim. And there are going to be people right now who are not there. So you may not be there at the start of this call, in which case, please start blowing up this chat and write in right now anything that you are anxious about around food over the holiday, anything you are anxious about in terms of managing your kids over the holiday, anything you are anxious about in terms of managing the holiday going into Shabbos, okay? Things that you found have been a real stumbling block in the past that you just are not, you want to choose differently this year and you want help and support and guidance on how to choose differently this year, okay? Start putting things in the chat, even if somebody else already wrote chocolate, right? And you also say chocolate, put it in anyway so that they know they're not alone and you have the same things that they have, okay? A few things to think about if you haven't thought about yet. There are a few different aspects to this year. There's, if you're fasting, breaking the fast meal, Megillah reading. There's the morning time through actually getting, mishlochei manot out, if you're going to get a workout in, what your morning's going to look like with the kids, are you eating breakfast, actually having all the mishlochei manot around. And then the fact that it's an Erev Shabbos, and that stuff could still be stuck in your house through Shabbos. So there's a few different elements that you might have thoughts about that you should be putting in the tracker now. Ooh, and somebody's gonna have their period over Purim. And so they know like, okay, I'm at risk for maybe impulsive eating, but I really wanna have a great holiday. Okay, I wanna open up to all of you to really encourage you. The only way that you're gonna have an amazing holiday is if you think about these things in advance, so they don't have to trip you up and make you feel anxious in the moment. Oh my gosh. You started last year from Erev Purim and had the best Purim ever. And now you're nervous on the pressure to redo that. So we're nervous to not have a good year. And then we've had a good year and we're nervous to redo the year. I love how we have the best spectrum of everybody here. Thank you for being so honest, because I promise you there's somebody who feels the same way. Okay. Keep going, guys. So many good things here. Okay, Ayelet, Yoni, Adi, Jen, any thoughts on things that you're seeing here that you kind of want to start with? I'll tell you the one thing, guys, that I want to start with and how I approach this. I refuse to have food anxiety. Anything that is making me anxious, I want to think about now and talk myself down so that it doesn't have power over me. I'm the one who's going to control my reaction to that circumstance. That's my first step. What mindset, what hat am I going to put on? This is my magical food doesn't control me hat. Whatever I eat is something that I want, is something I'm going to choose, is something that I'm going to be aware of will probably be in my environment, and I'm not going to be surprised. Any of the other coaches see something?
So I'll continue that. I'll continue from there because you ended with the word surprise. Has anybody here not lived through Purim? I mean, I think like in general, we have a pretty good idea and picture of what Purim entails. Most of us are also old enough to have lived through, if you're in Israel, this whole Purim Mishulash. If you're in Yerushalayim, we all know what that's like. So the idea of surprise is something that I want you, like Lily said, very often that's the anxiety. Like it's, I don't know. Take that deep breath now, because you may not know specifics. You may not know every Mishloach Manot, although I'm pretty sure this year of all years, we kind of have it easy in that department, because I cannot imagine it's going to be the same amount of Mishloach Manot. I can't imagine the Seudah is going to be as big as we've ever had it before. So these are all definitely things. But in terms of the idea of what happens, Purim, I can tell you, was the most stressful holiday for me. I spent my life as a married mother hating this holiday. And then when I mean, Lily, I don't know if you remember, but that first Purim,
I remember.
I literally posted about it because I learned that I can love a holiday, and it seems kind of ridiculous to hate a holiday because of all that anxiety, whether it's food related or the day. We know what the day brings. You know, if you're going to be going to Megillah reading, you just have to figure out which one. The fact that it's Friday, okay, we've all done Friday. We've all had maybe something on a Friday, and then Shabbos still comes. It is Sunday today. You are all women, therefore you are all multitaskers. You can think about one thing more than one thing at a time. So you can already think now, as opposed to letting that anxiety of the unknown get to you. For me, that's the biggest thing. It's just saying, this is not a surprise. Now let me work on details. But nothing here is a major surprise.
Exactly. But I want to go into like that it can also be, it can delight you. Okay. Like you can find some wacky, you can find some fun, you can find some sense of the ridiculousness in Purim. I will tell you, for me, the Purim problems were always after the holiday at night. My husband drinks, I have the kids, like, oh my goodness. It's always like after, I felt like I had pretty good control generally through the years. And the second they would go to bed and I was surrounded by the mess, that was when I would hit the chocolates and it wouldn't stop. And then I'd be like, oh my gosh. Or I would be so done with seeing friends and the Seudah and so exhausted, and everyone's still around and being wacky. And that's when I would start. And so for me, it was really focusing on which time of day am I most at risk over Purim, and just really hacking that system. And for me, it was making a deal with my husband. He can drink as much as he wants, but he puts my youngest one to bed. And we came to that negotiation a few years ago. And since, he has every single year put Bensi to bed. And so when I feel like I am done, I'm a people person, but I'm worn out by the whole day. Near the end, I can actually go to bed. I clean up earlier, and then whatever is not done, I literally will leave it and clean it up in the morning when I'm in a better headspace. So for me, it was really figuring out which time of day I'm most at risk. And I know some other people, other coaches had really good tips about how to organize your day well. Yoni, it looked like you had something.
Well, I'm going to go back to the fact that everyone keeps writing about Mishloach Manot.
Yeah.
We all are aware of treat, not cheat. So as opposed to being overwhelmed, take the way that you would approach onto be if you're at a shmorg at a wedding. Walk past.
If you remember what that was like.
Look at, if you remember what that is, look at everything that's come in your house. Go through bag by bag, whatever is coming in and all the packages, and then decide, this is the one treat I'm going, or the one you made. This is the one treat. Yes, I'm Water Woman, whoever just asked me that. Go Chani. Anyway, you got to go with it. Anyway, so the point is that either you know you're a good baker and that's what you're going to go with, and you choose the one item and you enjoy it and you don't gobble it down, and you are able to sit and take the time with no guilt attached to know that that's a treat and that's cool. Or to go through all the things that come into the house and say, okay, not that, definitely not that. And you have that, let's say, pile of 6 or 7 things that you really like. Choose that one that's really going to be something you don't have often, that you're going to have your indulgence.
And let's say
And
there are
put the
7
rest-
that you want. Yoni, you just said it. Let's say there are 7 that you want. Give yourself permission to eat all 7, just not today. Take those
Right.
7 and put
There's
and
no
put
rule
them
that you
somewhere.
have to get it all in.
Right.
Right.
Take all 7.
I will tell you, and someone keeps saying the garbage or the crap or the whatever. There's a lot of stuff that comes in Mishloach Manot that I feel like people take what they don't really want, but they send it out to other people's houses. There is a bag the second the first Mishloach Manot comes into our house. I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Israel, by the entry to most supermarkets, there is a bin for donation. And anything that's sealed, the second things come in the door, it starts going into that bag, because do I really need sticky, tooth rotting, sucking candies in every gross, stale flavor anyway? No, I don't. And it also just doesn't do it for us. But the point is that there's a point where you look at that amount, and we're a 5-person family, and you're going, this is not a normal amount of junk food for anyone. My girls this year spent this week looking at YouTube on how to carve apple swans, how to make bouquets out of fruit. Why? Because that's how our house has changed over the course of the year. Doesn't mean they don't want chocolate. Doesn't mean they don't want to have their different Bubby's Hamantashen recipe. I think she's on here somewhere. But the point is they're still going to make them. We're just not going to make 60 of every flavor. We will have the few. I will definitely partake, because for me, that's the one time a year that I have my own mommy's baking. And that will be it. But to be able to go into it, no different than a big holiday where you pre-track, go in saying, I will allow myself a something. And the rest
choose
go
what
out.
you can control yourself around. Like Alana says, like if you really struggle with milk chocolate, is that the treat you want to have? Or promise yourself, hey, the week after Purim, go buy yourself one single big milk chocolate bar of the kind that you really like. You
I think, Lily, that part's huge. You guys also have to acknowledge 2 things that I found that used to trip me up on Purim. Was when it feels like the day's a rush and a mess, right? And we feel like we're just going. You have to go to Megillah reading, and then one of the kids, and who's doing this, and who's taking the kids, and then Mishloach Manot, and then we have the Suda, and now especially with Shabbos. I don't know about you, but when I feel like I'm rushing, it's the same physical feeling inside as hunger. And when I realized that, I realized I was grabbing food just because I was rushing, because I felt like a time constraint, not because I was actually hungry. Not only that, then I was grabbing things that, and this part is key for me, are not a once in a lifetime opportunity. If you are grabbing a bunch of those little mini chocolate things, you have the ability to buy those any second, probably any day, and every supermarket order that you make every single week, okay? So like Yoni was saying, make the choice. Don't let the choice make you, like, don't let it choose you just because it's there. Remember, when Alana talks about the 3 pillars of, why we eat, she talks about emotional, environmental, and nutritional, okay? Don't blame everything on emotional. Guys, I know sometimes it's easy. A lot of us are here. We are emotional eaters. But give the credit to environmental hunger for what it is. Purim, it's environmental. Stop making yourself feel bad that, oh my God, I can't control myself and I have such an emotional eating problem. Guess what? Environment and the fact that it's there, you just need to remind yourself that 3 days ago, that wasn't your choice. So yes, that you want it because it's there is a good thing to acknowledge, but it's not a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you have to be able to give yourself that space. Normal that it's here and I want it because it's here, but it's not really, what I want. And if I do, I can get it.
And Jen had some great tips on environmental hunger.
I was gonna add two things. One of the biggest things, okay, I can't even see myself.
You look
This is
so
actually my
good.
first, all right, fine. It's kind of dark. It's kind of dark in here, but okay.
Kind of dark
So
in here too.
this is actually my first Purim on 2B, but I wanted to like really reinforce what Ayelet was saying, because that was one of the biggest things that I actually got from someone not on 2B like a few years ago. And she said to me, if it's something that you don't have the recipe for, or you cannot go out and buy and seems worth it for you, then go for it. But if it's something that's like what Ayelet was saying, like so easily accessible to you, then like there's really no reason why you can't go out in 3 weeks and buy it, or put it in the freezer and enjoy it later on. But
Wait,
being
time out on the freezer thing. Like I say with another client of mine, that trick, be aware if that trick works for you or not.
yes, only if it works for you. If you know that it's
I
there, you
eat
go.
out of the freezer. I eat out of the freezer. For me, it needs to go in the garbage.
Right. So what, being that it's my first year on 2B, one of the biggest things before I started implementing, and it was my Mishloach Manot, was giving out breakfast foods, because skipping breakfast on Purim is like the worst thing that you can do, but everyone does it because like what Ayelet said, we just run and run and run around, and literally sitting, just having a small meal really helps you with your blood sugar and your energy and just refocusing yourself. So I really want
Not
to
just
just like
for you, what you said for the kids. We
for the kids,
every
for the
single
kids.
year before they're allowed to go in and give mishlochei manot, we had omelets and salad and like real food breakfast and Greek yogurt, and like filled them up so that I didn't have to stress about what they were eating basically till Suda. And this year for our Suda, we're having bagels and tuna fish and egg salad and cream cheese and lox, and that a bagel hollowed out, like a half bagel, may actually be my treat to myself for Purim. And then I thought, you know what? My kids are getting older. I think I'm going to have wine. And I'm going to skip the bagel, and I'm going to heat up my takeout. I can heat up my regular bread I use every other day of the year, and he'll have the same bread and have it with a glass of Chardonnay in the morning. And my Purim is going to be so much smoother. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And you can.
So I think we're doing like barbecue, like really super simple, like marinated pergio and like salad, and like literally like that's it, like very light and easy, and not stressing.
I also always get a workout in when Tani goes to shul in the morning. I always Purim morning, no matter what time I need to wake up, even if I've been at a Purim party, not this year, but other years, till 1 a.m, I get up and I do a workout Purim morning. And for me, it just reminds me it's a day. It's a holiday, but it's a regular day. And
Kind of like Halloween. Like I love when Alana always says, it's a day. Now, yes, mind you, in Israel, Purim usually can feel like a month. And this year it actually is spread out for those people in Yerushalayim. They have, Megillah, and then they have their Suda on Sunday. So it's like the never ending Purim. But again, if you separate it into events, then that's what it is. Just really, like when you need to break things down into bite-sized pieces for yourself to try to contemplate, you can think about that before. You're not being surprised by a 3-day Purim. You know what's coming. And I know I think at this point, so many of us have that idea with our kids, especially when they're not too Azars. And Pesach is, yes, in 5 weeks. Okay, it is. It's what it is. It's Pesach, Purim's going to hit, and it's in a month. So I don't know. I know like a bunch of us have the kids get to pick 10. For me, the kids get to pick 10 items that come from Mishloach Manot, and they have between now and Pesach to choose how they see fit when they want to have it. So that's it. That's like their junk for the next month. They each pick 10 things. Everything else gets either thrown away or given away. And again, I don't think this year is going to be the same thing as usual. But it's a big thing just to make a plan and recognize not only for yourself, but your kids too. Like, you are the adult in the situation. You can make choices for them too. Now, if you have more adult children, then that's also a different discussion, to have. But I love that idea of the breakfast. It really is so important. It's how I grew up. That was actually the mishloach, my note that we gave out, and I continued that from my mom. I give out bagels and cream cheese and orange juice and lox.
Yeah.
Mind you, I give it to 2 people nowadays,
Right.
my 2 Chilovi neighbors, but it showed my kids that you need to start the day with real food. So it's a very important aspect. Like we not said, it changes your mood. You're doing something for yourself. Just also as important, do it for yourself, do it for your kids. If you're so worried about your kids' sugar high and their behavior and going into Shabbos and all that kind of stuff, you can make these decisions beforehand.
Also, let's talk about where you're going to put the mishlochei manot. Out of sight, out of mind. So each of my kids gets a bag, and they put their stuff labeled in their bag. And over the years, I've really, really taught them to be patient. And they really do not eat the same way. Everything that comes in the first second they get it. They actually now really enjoy amassing a great quantity and taking the time to sort through it. And this was actually taught to them, not from me, but from my gluten-free kids. And I know Ayelet's having her first vegan Purim, but my kids have been celiac for years. And so they actually role modeled for my younger children, pausing, gathering everything, and then seeing what was appropriate for them to eat, getting rid of the other stuff, and then choosing what they really wanted. And we do, they can eat whatever they want on Purim, but they actually don't like to overdo it too much because I let them keep everything that they want. However, it could be 50, I don't care. And then every day between Purim and Passover that they clean for Passover, something from their jobs that we create, they get to pick something from their bag. So that's how we roll. And that really encourages them not to stuff everything in their mouth in one day. And we always have stuff left over by the end, by Passover, that we end up, getting rid of, or in the last Shabbos of our Passover, they bring to the park and share with all their friends or whatever. And it really teaches them delayed gratification, being like very food police kind of way, which I think is important for me and my kid.
What else are people what are you nervous about, specifically?
Yeah, look in the chat. People had some really good things. And feel free to unmute, and we'd love to call on you or raise your hand if your children haven't taught you how to raise hands yet.
Right. I'm like, what do you mean your children haven't taught you how to raise hands? We were raising hands before our kids, but you meant in Zoom.
In Zoom.
But I'll start out. If anybody is starting off to be, and they're more that whole idea of feeling not taking part or you're eating different. That for me is a big one now. This with vegan, which I've also been working through on Shabbatot, but definitely over this holiday. So it kind of seemed different when it was Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot. I don't know why, but for Purim, definitely when you think Suda and you're either doing a barbecue or you're doing this, and I'm thinking protein. I'm going to be honest. I'm just okay eating different because at the end of the day, nobody's forcing me to be vegan. It was my choice. So if you feel like you are eating differently than other people because of your choice to be healthier, because it makes you feel better, then own the choice and you can eat different. You can orchestrate the meal having those things in it too. But for me, I'm just became okay with the fact that I'm eating differently.
Guys, I'm seeing a lot of nervousness about environmental eating. Okay, this is real. Let's talk about, I'd like to hear from you guys. What strategies, creative solutions does anybody have? I put everything in each kid's labeled bag in a box that literally is not see-through. It's from IKEA. It's a cloth, huge box. And so literally, I don't see it. It's up high. Even the kids, once Shabbos starts, won't have access to it. unless we specifically take it down and everything is labeled. So there isn't things that are random. Everything that doesn't go in their bag that isn't assigned to a person, we toss or donate before Shabbos. Like this will happen literally, I promise you. None of that stuff will be available on Shabbos. So what is your plan?
Becky, when you say when you say like the stuff that I love around, that's
Yeah.
what you're nervous about.
Meaning like if as long as I know what food is coming into the house, then like I know we're not buying Vaffelim. I love Vaffelim for whatever reason. We don't buy them. My kids know I will not buy them because I love them. But in the Mishlochei Manot, like people might give things that I love. And Lily, like I like your suggestion. I need to just label them for the kids and then get the rest out. But it's also like, I might be like, oh, a waffle, maybe I'll save this for a special treat. But like, no, I need to just literally not save any of those treats because I just won't, I don't have control around that stuff.
So ask yourself, really, you keep saying you love it. Do you love it? Because if it's something you really love, then it's worth saving one and before you eat the one, I said this to somebody about Hamantaschen yesterday or today. I said, if you really want to eat a Hamantaschen and you know every time you start with one, you eat the whole pan, don't take your one to eat until every single other one is like in a wrapped, sealed Mishlochei Manot going to someone else. And then there literally is one. You can't do any damage. So you have one because you really love it. But now ask yourself, do you love the memory of a waffle or do you really love a waffle? If you really love one, and you'd be so happy if you could control yourself around that food, take environmental and make it your superpower.
I know. So like maybe one day I'll feel good enough that I'm like in control. I think for now, like it's really, I only buy treats that I don't like and it's been working. And the moment somebody drops off a cake, like not there yet.
So again, like, so then you really want to say, it's not, I don't love this right now. It's just not actually making me happy right now. But I look forward to maintenance where I am going to hack what I need to do to be able to have a cookie and a piece of cake. Like I look forward to that day. I am not scared of that day. I look forward to that day in the future.
Yeah, I would also be remiss if I don't bring up
Water.
I mean, really,
water woman.
Start your day with water. You're followed by all those junk. Have more water. Also, no different than the attitude that should be surrounding times where you know you're going to treat and you plan and are mindfully looking at when you're going to have a treat. I know a day that there's something that I've made. I will lead into it with water and veggies and I say go heavy on the water and veggies leading up to the time that I'm going to really enjoy that treat, and lead out of it again, heavier than my normal on veggies and water. So there's a point where you can only put so much in you when there's that much water in you. Create a situation where you will be able to enjoy that treat, but then, as Alana says, make it a noun and not a verb. Have a snack. Don't be snacking. One ends and is a concise, defined piece of something. One goes on and on and on. So decide this Purim, I'm going to have a snack. I'm not going to be snacking.
Amazing. Not only that, but did you hear what Becky said? One waffle actually doesn't do it for her. When I told her you could have one, she was like, oh, but one.
That's because Vaffelim are made to be addictive. There's something inside they don't tell you.
100%, like Oreos. We all know. Right. Like Emily, do you mind if I call on you, or Debbie, or anybody who was talking about chocolate and environmental? Masha, what's something that you could see yourself doing to take control of your environment? Because the nice thing about environment is actually the easiest thing to take demonstrative control of.
So I have something.
Debbie, go for it.
Debbie. So I was saying that usually like I don't like chips and things, like chocolate is my thing. So the kids can have all the chips and anything that's chocolate is my bag. But this year I am not doing that. This year they get the chocolate, and that's going to be it, because I know that if they say it's theirs, I won't eat it. Like if it's just in the fridge, I'll eat it. But if they say, Mom, this is my bag, like I won't touch their bag. I don't know what it is psychologically about that bag, that I know it's there and I could take it whenever I want, but something psychologically is saying that's not for me, so I'm not eating that.
Just label
So that's
every
what
bag, the kids. Label
so
everything.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Relabel
saying. Like there
each
won't be
bag.
anything that's my bag this year. That's what it is. That's all it is.
And are you disappointed, or are you excited by that? Like you actually feel free by that?
So I'm happy. I'm just like nervous that I'm just like I'm not nervous, like stressed out. I'm just like I hope it works. But I think it will, because I've done it before,
Mhm.
and but not with everything. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see if it works.
So
I
why
think
But I
everything?
think it will. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Why everything? That's my question. Do you
Why
just
everything?
not?
Because
Yeah.
I'm like Becky. Because I'm like Becky. And if I start with chocolate, I'm going to continue with chocolate.
Even
So it
if
has
it's
to
your
be
kids.
no, that's what I'm saying. So if I give it to my kids, if it's everything is theirs, then I won't eat it. So, but it has to be everything. I can't keep one for myself, I'm saying. I'm like Becky.
Because
So
what
I'd like
happens-
to.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go
No,
ahead.
I'd like to really on this, because I know sometimes, very often, like even within like our group, where somebody starts a thread and where they're struggling, or this is always me, and then we all very often go to that, we're stuck. Yes, I always, and we've spoken about this a lot. As long as you are defining your present by your past behavior, you are concentrating on the problem, not the solution. Okay? You are then tomorrow didn't happen yet. That's not what it is. You have that ability to not. Wait, I even wrote it. I wrote something down because this was such a big thing for me. What was it?
2-minute warning. So
Okay. You can't. Okay, this is it. I read this. You cannot step into a new version of you if you're still agreeing with the old one.
Can I just say
So yes.
go ahead,
that
Jude.
if you've had years and years and years and years and years and years of the not good relationship with food, it takes a while
Mhm.
to be able to step out of that. It's not quite so, oh yeah, okay, I'll just leave the
Can I
Oh,
offer you another
baggage
option?
behind. Go on.
Can I offer you another option? It is difficult. You can also decide, I'm gonna do it differently. You all decided to change something on a certain day. Whether you're as successful as you want to be, or you all decided to join a program. Why didn't you do it the day before? There was a point where you said, I'm doing it. You may have come back, and we all have clients or people who are challengers who have come and said, oh, I want to hear about it. And not till 6 months later did they decide to start 2B. But that was the day they started. You can decide that Purim is that day. You can decide. When people say, I'm not a veggies person, I'm bad with this, the message you continue to beat into your head is the one that you're going to believe. Decide to change the messaging. It is hard. A year and a half in, do certain things still not tempt me? But the message that I tell myself every day is I've never, at 43 years old, been healthier in my life.
1 minute.
Why would I want to change that?
What a powerful.
When I have something,
Yeah.
when I have something that is delicious, I do it mindfully. You can decide to literally do something. I mean, you say you wrote something down, systemize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional.
Yeah.
I wrote about predictability too. That's so amazing.
And that's what I started off this call with, guys. And Yoni ended it so beautifully. You have to go in with saying, I will not tolerate food anxiety anymore. I decide if this is going to be a problem or not. If my environment's a problem, I can decide that there's only one chocolate in the house. everybody can control themselves around one chocolate. You eat it and then it's gone. You decide if that one chocolate is the first of the box